The Bad Fire by Mogwai. I believe this was Kylie's selection for the poll. Yeah. And I've got here in my notes that it was the first win in the poll for Kylie in a while. So great news. Thank you everyone for voting. And yeah, over to Kylie.
Yeah, I feel like you know, I have to remember sometimes what we've covered on the pod and what I've written in the past. So, I'll keep it brief. Mogwai, back when I was in middle school, high school, late '90s, early 2000s, just really one of those bands that got me into post rock. It helped that what was it called? E-music, I believe, was like one of the first legal music services, and I just remember downloading like their entire discography up to that point, and shoving multiple albums onto one burnable CD, and just really hugely influential band for me when I was that age. And then enjoyed Mr. Beast, and then it was kind of I would say a quiet period for my fandom of Mogwai until As the Love Continues came out in 2021. And it's kind of funny to go back as I was listening to the Bad Fire, is going back on album of the year. And it's funny like how many Mogwai fans didn't like As the Love Continues. When I really think it's just them hitting their stride again. As we know, it hit #1 on the UK charts. That was a big deal. So, I threw the Bad Fire up on the poll because I was hoping they could continue that streak. And for me, unfortunately, they did not. This record, it's only 10 tracks, but every song is for the most part 5 minutes plus, which, I'm not opposed to, but every song on here, they pick a riff or an idea and build on it and build on it and build on it. And it's just, I think a slog to get through. I think God Gets You Back, which I believe was the first single. Great way to open this record. Unfortunately for me, the highlight, even starting with High Chaos, the second track, I was already like, damn, is this what we're gonna do for the next, almost hour long? And it pains me because I've put this on multiple times. Like, what am I missing? What am I missing? And it just it comes off as like a jam session, and we're getting the first take of everything. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed out about this record. I was really looking forward to it, and it's where Lamborghini Girls is a 29-minute slog. Like, this is a true 55 minutes. Just damn, I can't get on board with it. Bummed out. So I would say a mid grade for myself. Some good ideas, but just kind of in the end feels like it doesn't go anywhere.
Does it go anywhere for you, Karl?
Yes, I mean, I'm sort of in the same boat as Kylie, I'd say. Mogwai, a band that, always kind of been familiar with. I think it was the Zinedine Zidane soundtrack, and The Hawk Is Howling. Those two kind of came out quite quick after each other, and that was like my first touch point with them way back when. And never really dived into them fully until a few years back. I saw them headlining Festival Number 6, which no longer exists, RIP. Great festival in Wales. And that performance just blew me away. And Every Country's Son had come out around that time. And I kind of got back from that festival and just, lost myself in that record for a good while. Really took to that record as a result, and then since then we've gone back to Young Team and their earlier ones. Thanks to like the music Twitter polls and stuff like that. But yeah, like Cardi said, as the love continues, that was probably even compared to like their early work, I think that was definitely one of their best records. Got them, UK #1 as you said, but their first Mercury Prize nod as well. And yeah, I think it it was heralded as one of their finest works. Maybe not by the album of the year folks, but yeah, by every other metric certainly was. And yeah, like Kylie had the same expectations, like high expectations going into this one, especially off the back of, Lion Rumpus, which was the single that I had heard, which for me is just everything that is great about Mogwai's music. Got the scintillating riffs, amidst this like captivating and, quite like triumphant wall of sound going on. And I think it still ends up one of my favorite tracks on here. And then yeah, God Gets You Back. Really love the glossy, like synth-soaked nature of that song. Just brings the record alive. Goes in all these interesting, playful directions. High Chaos, I did actually quite like. It's got, I think it's those grungy guitars that come through. But yeah, I mean, kind of aside from those three tracks, everything is still decent, but it just doesn't captivate me like some of their previous work has. It does feel more of the same without. I think the biggest thing is the emotional pull that some of their music has is kind of lacking for me on this one. I mean, definitely compared to As the Love Continues and some of the songs on there, definitely kind of, you felt those tracks, whereas there's not really any of those moments on here for me. I think the closest they come to it is Fact Boy, the closing track. One of the like more moody cuts on here. And then 18 Volcanoes, which is the one where, Stuart Bamford's vocals come through in the static. I think that's quite, a good moment. But yeah, I think I like everything on here, but similar to Kylie, I think it's one that falls short of their own lofty standards, I'd say. So an interesting listen without being a mind-blowing one for me.
So I'm not as well versed as you guys, but As the Love Continues was also one on my first kind of Mercury Prize nominee listening year. I think it was COVID year, so had a bit more time on my hands. So yeah, loved it. Great record. Like The Bad Fire, it's not As the Love Continues. However, after kind of on the maybe first couple of listens, feeling broadly similar to what you've shared, it then kind of caught fire a bit with me, and one which I've ended up, really enjoying. With highlights being for me, High Chaos, which I've got here is like a movie soundtrack for a serious heist film. Toys with the listener like a game of cat and mouse. So that one, really good fun. Fanzine Made of Flesh, I think it's quite a cheery rock tune, with its kind of auto-tune whispery vocals, lyrics about the desolation felt after a lover leaves. So yeah, I mean, it's probably typical that some of the oblique references here, which are not like, in your face, but yeah, I sort of got into under the skin of it after a while. And the third one, which I would say were the three favourites. So Hammer Room, which I enjoyed the kind of plucked strings on it, the electronic drums. Made it quite trip hoppy. And yeah, there's like a dub style drop, which goes on to like a more focused like main theme and these aeroplane type noises. Just really enjoyed that. So I think overall, I think all of them are differing levels of how compelling they are. all quite cinematic, which I guess is quite their what they do. With not too many vocals usually peppered across their music, but yeah, this was one I really enjoyed. I think there were a few which didn't quite, were more kind of middle of the road. Like If You Find This World Bad, you should see some of the others, which kind of quite slow guitar to start, and that one just didn't really, reach a crescendo at all. Didn't kind of justify that. A little bit in the same way I felt as End Song, I think it is on the Cure's album, where it just kind of, okay, where are we going to here? But yeah, one which really enjoyed. And yeah, I think I need to do more exploring of this band and check out the stuff which, grabbed you, Kiley, initially, and what you've latterly kind of got into as well, Karl. And then I'll have a more balanced view, and maybe we'll disown their last album, which and join the album of the year crowd. But yeah.